everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host, and I'm so glad to be here. I do hope that you guys are having a fantastic day. I hope that the weather is wonderful where you are. I hope that the birds are singing. I hope that you've had hot coffee and that all good things are coming to you. If you are listening live, it is the 27th of February, 2019 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you're listening to an archive or a replay, I also want to welcome you to the show. I want to let you know that we're over in the chat room, and you can find that by heading over to 12radio.com. That's number 2 radio.com. Click on the chat button, and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat. So that's how to do it. It's how to get there. I also want to let you know that I am doing this event via Facebook Live over in the chat room. So you're welcome to come and watch it if you would like to. I actually have quite a few things to show you today. So you might actually really want to be in the chat, in the live stream. Questions, something you should know about the chat room though. In the chat room, there is my banner is at the top of the page. And that's what I'm paying attention to. So if you need a reading today, if you need to ask a question, if you want to interject a comment, I will see it there. If you make a comment in the live stream, if you have a question for me, if you put it there, I will probably miss it. I hate to say it, but it just moves too fast. I don't even see all of your comments until the show's over from the live stream. So if you need me to see it, make sure that that's where you put it, is under my banner. That's the best place for it to go. So I'm just glad to see you guys all here. It has been quite a wild weather week, hasn't it? We have had blizzards, we've had snow, we've had rain, we've had a lot of wind. It's been raining all morning, and about 2 minutes ago that turned into a very heavy snow. It's just wild outside, wild. And I know that for a whole bunch of you guys it is the same, so yipes. Stay warm, guys, stay safe. We had such a horrible storm, and it hit the elevations just above us. We're a little tiny bit lower, and we didn't really get so much. We got, I don't know, probably 6 inches, but nothing like some of the other areas around us. But we ended up with a highway with a whole bunch of truckers that were stranded. Couldn't go forward, couldn't go backward. Eventually ran out of fuel and food, and they've been bringing like bobcats and snowmobiles and things in to bring more fuel and food to these guys so that they could keep going until they got them plowed out. And it looks like they got them plowed out mostly today, and some of them not until tomorrow. But wow, it has been snowmageddon around here. It's been wild. So bleh. It's almost March. We've had enough. Thank you very much. But the water will be excellent this year, so that's good. We love it. Alrighty. Well, some things I want you to know. Well, where do we want to start? So last week I had talked about that it was softball tryouts. So my youngest was trying out, and last year as a freshman, her goal was to make the varsity team, and she didn't. She made the JV team, which is normal for a freshman, but she had big goals. But within 2 weeks of being on the team, they bumped her up to the varsity team. So this year, trying out, she has been really worried about making the JV team again and really wanting to be on the varsity team. And I really felt like she would make varsity, but you know, there's always that worry, and there's nothing wrong with playing JV. Don't get me wrong, nothing wrong. It's just that all of her friends and teammates that she plays summer ball with play varsity, so she wants to be there. Understandable. Anyway, so she got word on Monday night that she did make the varsity team, so big relief there. But she just texted me to say that she was just invited to be the editor of the school paper next year. So that's pretty fun. She took a sports journalism class this semester that's just ending, and loved it and had a lot of fun with it. And they loved her articles and put them all in the school paper. And so now the school papers come back and asked her to come join them and be their editor next year. So she's super excited about it. I'm excited. She's a good little writer. I know. I hope I have something to do with that. I don't know. Honestly, when I edit her stuff, there's very little to edit. She's doing an awesome job. But so that's kind of fun. So pretty fun stuff at my house. I will tell you that in doing the daily readings the last few days, the energy's been pretty interesting. Monday and Tuesday, a little abrasive, a little hot-headed, just having to be a little bit aware of other people around you, being unwilling to fall into drama or gossip at work, and having to stand up for yourself. So I've heard from quite a few of you that is, you've really run into that this week, and that's what the daily readings indicated. So wild stuff, but anyway, we'll roll with it, right? I hope it gets better this week, but in the meantime, rock on, do you, and don't let anybody put you down. You know, just don't. They don't get to. I feel like a lot of my light workers have just been tired of being different. Not even tired of being different, maybe a little, but just tired of feeling like they were a little downtrodden, or feeling like they were tired of being so inundated with people that don't really get them. And here's the thing, you are okay. Who you are is who you're supposed to be. There's not a damn thing wrong with being you. Now, can you, be doing candle magic at your desk at work? Maybe not. Maybe so. You do you. But ultimately, do you. Be okay with who you are. Don't feel like you have to hide yourself under a rock. And maybe it's time for some of us to come out a little bit. Maybe it's time to come out a little to family, to friends, to people around you, that this is who you are, and this is what you're about, and this is what you stand for, or what you don't stand for. I feel like that's what we're kind of building up to. We had talked about February being a month of building, where we were feeling like we were building up to something and weren't quite sure what it might be, but different things for different people. But I feel like for a lot of you in March, you really kind of emerge and go, you know what? I don't believe in that. I do believe in this. This is who I am. Take me or leave me. I think a lot of you are just tired. You're tired of what you're seeing around you. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And per always, I will be here to support you in any way that I can. So interesting stuff. Yeah. Oh, what else? Let's see. Next week, I want to let you know that next week is our animal communication show. We're doing those once a month, the first show of the month. So be sure next week that you show up with your pictures of your babies. I love to see them. And any questions that you want to bring forward to me that pertain to animal communication. And we'll make a whole show out of it. I'm loving doing that. That's a lot of fun. The other theme that has been pretty ripe this week is that the Earth's energy is quite unstable. The Earth is shaking quite a bit in prone to shaking areas. And a lot of you have been struggling to feel grounded. We're going to talk about the root chakra this week a little bit. We're going to do some grounding stuff. I'm going to show you a few things that are useful to see if we can help us all get a little more grounded. So that's what's coming up today on the show. First, we'll go ahead and do our regular things. And of course, if you're just joining us, again, this is the Katie Weaver Show. We are live, and it is the 27th of February. So very happy to have you all here. Alrighty, well, let's head over and take a look at the magazine. I threw a link up in the chat room, but you can find it by heading over to katie-weaver.com and clicking on the Katie's Magazine link. And then just click on the cover, and that'll take you right into the magazine. New cover. I love this cover. There's a lot going on, but I really love the raven. I love the hot air balloon. I love all of the butterflies. I just love it. It made me feel magical and happy, and by God, we'll take it, right? Okay, little note from me. I called this edition of the magazine the Keep Calm and Choose Joy edition. Keep calm and choose joy. It's not always easy to do. Sometimes joy can just F off, right? I get it. But hoping that we can continue working towards finding joy in all things or most things, finding something to laugh at, something to tuck into our hearts, something that makes us glow a little bit. For my memoir this week, I didn't write a memoir. I've been thinking about joy. I was thinking today that I know when I'm feeling joyful because I'm singing all the time. This isn't good singing. This is just me singing. And I'm either turning up the radio and singing along, I'm singing old songs while I do the dishes, I'm singing to the dogs, I'm singing to the pigs, whatever. But I was thinking this morning, you know, I know when I'm feeling like a high vibe because there's music coming out of me. And so I'm feeling good, can you tell? But anyway, so I was thinking about joy and how do we recognize joy? What is joy? But Rumi has many poems about joy, but this is one of Rumi's poems about joy that I love the most. If you knew yourself for even one moment, if you could just glimpse your most beautiful face, maybe you wouldn't slumber so deeply in that house of clay. Why not move your house of joy and shine into every crevice? For you are the secret treasure bearer and always have been. Didn't you know? I love that. Love it. In fact, I love it so much I'm going to read it one more time. For me, sometimes I need to hear things more than once, maybe for you guys too. If you knew yourself for even one moment, if you could just glimpse your most beautiful face, maybe you wouldn't slumber so deeply in that house of clay. Why not move into your house of joy and shine into every crevice? For you are the secret treasure bearer and always have been. Didn't you know? I love that so much. Why not move into your house of joy? Sometimes society tells us that we're supposed to feel bad. Sometimes society tells us that things are supposed to suck or that we're supposed to be down or we're supposed to be unhappy by various situations in our life. And maybe we are. Maybe that's true. But then again, maybe we can choose to not let things ruffle us quite so much. Maybe we can choose to have more fun. Maybe we can choose to put something on the shelf for a while and enjoy ourselves anyway. When one of my nephews was becoming a teenager, any irritating behavior from him would be countered with, I'm supposed to do that, I'm a teenager. And, that was always perplexing to us. We'd point out to him that, so what if you're a teenager? That doesn't mean you have to do that. But I thought it was a pretty interesting peek into really what society does tell us that we are supposed to do or who we are supposed to be. And for him, he thought that's what teenagers do. And maybe we all fall for that a little bit from time to time. So even if life sucks right now in some aspects, even if there's some things in your world that you are worried about, that you are hurting about, you don't have to sweep those under the rug. It's okay to be you, right? It's okay to feel what you're feeling. But at the same time, it's also completely okay for you to be happy too. To find other parts of your life that do bring you joy, that do give you a boost, that do bring something into your world that you want to feel good about. That's okay. I don't know why that's coming up today, but it is. So you guys know I frequently have no idea what the show is supposed to be about until I just get that prompting and then we go with it. But anyway, I feel really strongly about that today, that we all need that permission, maybe to give ourselves permission to be happy, to be okay. Yes, things in your world are always going to suck. That's just kind of a part of the human experience. But there's also going to be things in your life that can always bring you some joy too. That's how it should be, right? Yeah. Okay. My February reading special is my face-to-face and heart-to-heart video mentoring. So this is an opportunity for you to mentor with me, to pick a goal, to decide that you want to work on something, whatever it is in your world, you know. And sometimes it does have something to do with metaphysics and spiritual stuff, and sometimes it has nothing to do with that. Doesn't matter. We can mentor on anything. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to get a different job. Maybe you want to move. Maybe you want to make more money. Maybe you want to make less money. whatever it is, you can certainly do those things. So, alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and, so I put a link in the chat room for that. So it is the face-to-face and heart-to-heart video mentoring, and I would love to do that with you. So here's how it works. You buy it as an email reading. You go ahead and I will send you a form when you do that to fill out to set some goals. And once you have done that, then we'll set a time to do a video reading face-to-face via Zoom so that we can speak with each other. So that's how that works. Alrighty. So again, you can certainly pick that up over at When to Listen if you want to work on that. Okay, moving along. Okay, our crystal guidance this week comes from Christy. She is, of course, our master crystallologist around here. And the stone is Peach Moonstone. Peach Moonstone calms inner chaos, encourages connection to self, and encourages self-care. So if you are in the business of needing any of those things, Peach Moonstone could be a go-to for you. From her Kindred Spirits Oracle deck, she pulled the Joy card for us this week. No big surprise, right? Joy has been on the mind. The primary message of joy is happiness, open heart, good attitude, positive thoughts, and seeing the bigger picture. The challenge is getting stuck in the details, hanging on to the past, negative thoughts, and being guarded. The crystal is Sunstone. I think Peach Moonstone would work just fine too. The meditation, I see past the details. The big picture comes into focus. I find meaning in everything. Wonderful. All right, Kai's Kaleidoscope this week is about belief patterns, talking about our beliefs, where they come from, and how to work with them. She was talking about using positive affirmations to work on beliefs. She had some really, really good thoughts. She said, first, your new belief must be stated in a short sentence. Long, multiple sentences get lost within the subconscious matrix. Write your statement in the present tense. Subconscious thought is always in the present. Write your statement using I, me, or my, always in first person. Your statements are for you alone and do not involve others. A statement should be important to you. If the statement is linked to an emotion, it creates a stronger neural connection in your brain. A statement must be clear and concise, but state exactly what you mean. Be very specific, stating exactly what you mean, no room for interpretation. Any desired changes must be written as if they have already happened and exist in your present. Always be positive in the phrasing of your statement. Avoid no, not, no double negatives, negative contractions, or the use of the prefix un. Make sure your statement is attainable by you. Multiple short statements made over time incrementally work better than stating a large goal with many working parts. Really, really good advice for positive affirmations. So be sure that you read the rest of her article and then take note of those so that you can work on your own positive affirmations. I'm a huge believer in positive affirmations. The tip and thank you, Kai, for that fantastic work. The tip of the week is the jasmine tip. I love this one and I'm currently doing it. Grow jasmine in your bedroom. Growing a sweet pot of jasmine in your bedroom helps to relieve anxiety and promote restful sleep. In plant magic, jasmine is good for encouraging prophetic dreams. And oh, how I love jasmine. And Scott bought me a jasmine plant for Valentine's Day, which I don't know about you guys, but where I live, you can always start finding them around Valentine's Day and into March in the stores, and they're blooming and they're wonderful. Jasmine is really tough to keep alive. It has to have adequate water. If it dries out at all, it's dead. If the leaves even start to look like they're drying, you're done. You can't rehydrate it then. It's crazy. So the way we are doing it, and it seems to be working better than other things in the past, is a double pot system. So take a pot with dirt and some gravel and some drainage, put the pot of jasmine on top of that, sit it down in it, so that you can keep the dirt underneath it wet quite wet, so the jasmine can suck up what it needs and never dry out. That's one method. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of others, but there's a balance there between not using so much water that you just rot the roots, but using enough water that it has enough. So anyway, there's a tip from from Scott Weaver's Gardenerland thoughts, because that's what he's doing, and it's working really well. And sometimes that's what plants require. I have other plants that require a 2-pot method, and that works pretty well. So anyway, jasmine. Get some jasmine in your bedroom. It will make you so happy. All right, Brittany's divinity this week. She's talking about her middle child turned 7, her little Liv, so darling. And I absolutely loved hearing her birth story. What a sweetheart. Alrighty, our weekly cosmic strip from Elizabeth Lindsay. That which is truly meant for you will never pass you by. Perfect. And she's right. If it's supposed to be in your world, it's going to be in your world. You haven't missed anything. You haven't ruined anything. You haven't screwed anything up. And if it's not here yet, it's just not here yet. Dr. Elisa says, choose who you spend time with. Walk away from people who cause you pain. Why do we do it? Why do we continue to keep people in our world that cause us pain? Okay, sometimes it's obvious, right? Sometimes it's family members, sometimes it's coworkers, sometimes it's people that it's hard to imagine them not being in our worlds. And I'm not telling anybody to throw their family away, but there's others, right? It can be as small as scrolling through social media and having people that are very negative there that constantly, make you pause, that waste your time, that make you, that don't bring on the warm and fuzzies. Silence that. Why do you have to watch that? You don't. But I catch myself doing it too. Sometimes it's other things, Sometimes it is the job that needs to go. Sometimes it is the friend that you've had forever who truly doesn't really care about you. You do much more for them than they've ever done for you. Their drama is always much more important. What you're going through isn't really a thing for them. And for some reason, we stay in these very dysfunctional things sometimes for way too long. It doesn't mean you have to throw that person out of your life necessarily, right? But it might mean that you need to get some distance. It might mean that you need to start seeking out other people. But she has some good advice there, and I think it's really smart to consider that, because we have all found ourselves in relationships like this from time to time where we don't have the caring people, and maybe we've been telling ourselves a lie for a while about who these people are and what they are doing in our lives. So I think it's always worth thinking about. All right, Melissa Caprio and the Magic Monday message. Her postcard this week is, be more awesome than last year, love. I loved it. Very good. So whatever love brought to you last year, let's expect it to be even better this year. Chrisanne Morgan writes, This Intuitive Life. She's talking about Glennon Doyle and her organization Monastery. And then, of course, Marie Kondo and all of the Con Marie talk these days, and how to apply these things to your life in the sense of clearing out what doesn't bring you joy anymore and taking good care of yourselves. So I really loved what she had to say about that. Sometimes it's just time, right? I hate to admit this, but my closet is getting dang close. And there's going to be a lot that's not bringing me joy anymore. Dang it. Okay. Anita and the Masters. Anita brings us the goddess Vesta. Vesta, of course, is the Roman goddess of home and hearth. And I love that so much. Vesta is one of those goddesses that is very dear to me. And I love that she brought her to us this week. So be sure to read her article and think about how you can honor Vesta in your life and bring her into your world. Wonderful stuff. Alrighty, well, that is Luminous this week. Of course, you can always subscribe to receive it in your inbox by heading over to katie-weaver.com, and there's a subscribe button on the homepage. You can also subscribe to my daily reading. If you'd like to receive the daily reading, and I got to tell you how much I'm enjoying the daily reading. send it out every morning. I hear from you guys all the time about how much you've benefited from it, how much you're enjoying it, and I'm just loving doing them. So I'm going to put a link in the chat room, but again, you can find it right under my video over at katie-weaver.com, and you can just subscribe there. And if you subscribe, then I will send you the reading every day. You'll get it every single morning. It comes out about 5 a.m. Well, 6 a.m. Mountain, 7 a.m. Pacific. Anyway, time changes. Kills me sometimes. My brain just doesn't process. Anyway, good Lord. So you can find that link there. You can subscribe. I'll send you that every day. And then once a week, I will send you the link to view Luminous Magazine when it is published. So that's all on that. Alrighty, let's do the reading for the week. This is, of course, from my deck, from the Ground, Bless, Protect, and Move deck. So 5 cards for 5 different aspects of self-care for the week. The ground card is water. And I thought that was interesting because I'm quite sure that is what we pulled last week. So grounding with water is a really powerful and easy way to ground. Now, we don't all live by the beach. We can't all just head out to put our feet in the ocean, right? Would be cool if we did, but we don't. So how else do you ground with water? By drinking water, by running water over your hands, by taking a sea salt bath. Lots of easy ways, right? By sitting by any body of water that resonates with you. Even in the winter, you can head down to the river maybe and sit with that energy. But calling in the energy of water to help you ground is really useful, especially during a time like this where the earth hasn't been all that forthcoming in letting us ground to her. She has not been in the mood. The Bless card is the throat chakra card. So, why would you bless your throat? Well, what do you need to say? Do you need to have a conversation with a loved one? Do you need to speak up? Stand up for yourself more. Do you need to write something? Are you speaking publicly? Do you need to express yourself in some way? All reasons to bless the throat chakra. So how do you do it? Well, for me, put your hands over your throat and speak out loud whatever it is that you need from your throat. Perhaps you just want to bring it into balance. Perhaps you've had a sore throat for a month and you've had it with it. Perhaps you just want to be able to be heard more or have a bit of a louder voice or draw out some communication that needs to come or some expression that needs to come. Whatever. You bless your throat with whatever you need to. And then swipe it with an essential oil to seal in your blessing. For me, lemongrass is my go-to for the throat chakra. That may not be the same for you. You can use whatever feels right, but that's where it's at for me. All right, the Protect card is the cloak. So how do you and why do you? I was actually thinking about this in the sense of this being kind of a prickly week and having people around us who are a little grumpy and prickly. The cloak is a great way, and it's just as easy as it seems. Just envision yourself pulling your cloak around you, maybe over your head, just completely encasing you in a protective energy. To be able to hold your frequency without being affected by the outside tumult, right? That's all. I like the cloak method for going into stores, for going to public places that might not be comfortable for you, just overall to help you feel amazing. All right, the Move card is the Walk card. I like that. Maybe you can do that, get outside and walk. Maybe you cannot. But move your body in some way this week. Some gentle, loving, easy way that just helps you to feel good and helps to boost your spirits. That's all. Alrighty. And then just write. All right, this is the Boost card. That's right, it's time to write. Journal, blog, or notebook. You can't make the wrong choice when you are spilling your guts. Use this as an opportunity to release anything you need to release. Easy enough, right? Just write. And on that note, I know I've been nagging you guys about this whole year and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. Where are you with your memoirs? Are you working on them? I hope you are. We talked about this a little bit. We've talked about this quite a bit. This seems to be a year of writing and expressing. And you all have something to write. You might not think of it right this second, but you do. And your memoirs are a great way to start. So memoirs are not autobiographies. Memoirs are just stories. They don't have to go in order. They don't have to be with, Jane Doe was born in 1963 in, Niagara Falls or whatever. Where did that come from? Anyway, your memoirs are just stories. Stories about your relatives, about your past, about things that were wonderful, about things that weren't, about tiny things, about big things. You decide. But writing your memoirs, you can share them with people or you cannot and hold them tightly. That's totally up to you. But when you write your memoirs, you record the story of your life in a way that isn't quite so rigid, that isn't quite so, tough. It's just writing your stories. So start writing your memoirs if you haven't been. It's important. Someday, someone's going to read those. Maybe, or maybe they're just for you. Maybe they're for you to reflect on things. Maybe they're for you to help you understand some things about yourself that maybe you didn't understand before. Maybe you write something and then you go, oh, that's why I feel this way when XYZ happens. I get it now. That's up to you. Yeah. By the way, have you guys had Vitamin Water Zero? First of all, it's sweetened with stevia. So that's a natural sweetener that is usually easier on your body, on your belly, and isn't, cancer causing and crap. So stevia is where it's at for me. Stevia or monk fruit powder. But anyway, they're sweetened with stevia. So I love that because you can actually pick them up in a gas station or the grocery store. But these orange ones, seriously, they taste like Tang. And maybe that makes you happy. Maybe it doesn't, but I'm loving them. Anyway, that's all. Little blurb for my vitamin water. Okay. So that's the reading. So let's get into some grounding stuff. We need it. We really need it. So how do you know if you're not grounded? Well, there's a few things to think about. If you are not very grounded, you could be feeling just off, not quite yourself. You could be feeling cranky. You could be feeling a little bit like, you don't want anyone in your bubble. You don't want anybody in your space. That's pretty normal when you're not feeling very grounded. So that might be a way that you know. You could be feeling more anxious than normal. You could be feeling apathetic or depressed. You could be feeling like you cannot turn off the wheels in your head. You can't sleep you're not sleeping well. You can't get to sleep. Your brain's not shutting down. It's bringing up every stupid thing in the world that, could possibly distract you. It could also be that you can't focus. If you are struggling to work, if you're struggling to just settle down, that's how you know. I get texts from my kids frequently, all three of them, at school, at work. Hey, Mom, I don't think I'm very grounded. I feel like I can't focus. Can you help me, please? Sure. No problem. 5 minutes later, I do some grounding. I get into it with their spirit and get them grounded and get them put back in place. 9 times out of 10, that's all it takes. They're good. But it happens to all of us sometimes. So why does it happen? Well, here's the deal. Your root chakra should be connected to the energy of the earth. That's your ground. Think about a car battery. If you know your car at all, there's a red wire and there's a black wire, right? Like when you go to jump a car. The red wire is actually what passes energy or power from one place to the next. But if the black wire, that's the ground, isn't grounded to something, it won't happen. It won't work. Well, you too are an electrical machine in a sense. And you also have to have your black wires and your red wires in place. And if you don't, things aren't working correctly. The problem, among others, is that if your root chakra isn't running right, if you're out of whack there, then it's likely that all of the rest of your chakras are not either. They're starved. They're not getting what they need. And then we get clear up here to your crown. Here's your crown chakra here above your head. Well, your crown has been gathering. It's been gathering and gathering and gathering. Your thoughts, all of your emotions, your stuff, all of the things that are going on in your head. And that stuff has to have somewhere to go. If it doesn't, the crown gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And pretty soon, you're a mess. And you need help to get it grounded again, to get something done, because you are totally not yourself. It happens to everybody sometimes. So why does it happen? Well, because the root chakra runs the energy that clears that out. So the root does a job. It's kind of like your kidneys filtering your blood, right? The root chakra has energy that runs through your feet all the way to the top of your head and back down into the earth, filtering out what you no longer need and running it down into the earth. That's how it works. If that's not happening, and what do we get? The crown is still up here doing all of its work. Your thoughts are never going to stop. You always have brain patterns happening, right? So the energy is building and building and building and building, and the crown is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And pretty soon you are really out of sorts. Okay. It's easily fixed. So, but it's important, I think, to understand that piece so that you know why this happens and why when you're not grounded, you start feeling all of this weird stuff. Okay. So we're going to work on the root. Here's some reasons that you may not be grounded. Sometimes it's a shakeup in your life. You get some bad news or some suspicious news. You go through a big change, a change at your job, a death, a move, something huge, something catastrophic. You get in a car wreck. Okay, sure. Anything that affects safety and security will shake up your root chakra. We know that. We're prepared for that. Getting on an airplane. Oh my goodness. That shakes a lot of people up. Sometimes just being in big crowds of people where you're just feeling a lot of energy from everybody can do that. But so can more minor things that you may not even realize. Maybe this happened in a dream. Maybe you were doing some astral traveling at night and you managed to get pretty ungrounded that way. You know, maybe it's not you at all. Maybe the energy of the earth is shifting and has bumped you out, because I see that happen every once in a while. And now you're not very grounded. So we can prevent that to a certain degree. We can be aware of it to a large degree. But maintaining a good root connection is vital for spiritual health and mental health. So that's why we talk about it a lot. All right. So we know these things now about the root. So what can we do to stay grounded or to become grounded if we're not? Well, lots of things. I'm going to ground you today with a singing bowl because that helps a lot and works quite well. But I could give you, I could rattle off probably 20 suggestions right now. I probably won't give you that many, but I'm going to give you some that I think are very helpful. All right. Essential oils and crystals are two easy go-tos. So as far as crystals are concerned, dark stones, we're looking at red stones, we're looking at black stones. So smoky quartz is one of my favorites. I love smoky. It's light enough for those of you who kind of live in your upper chakras. You only kind of have one toe on the ground all the time. You know, you like being up there. You're a little fairy spirit, right? You're very light, okay? I really like smoky for you because being too grounded, it actually kind of sucks for you. It doesn't feel good. So something a little bit lighter might be a better go-to for you. Obsidian. Obsidian is a dark stone. It is volcanic glass. You can get plain old black obsidian. You can get mahogany obsidian. You can get lavender obsidian. You can get snowflake obsidian. There's no wrong answer. You decide what feels really good for you. But a lot of people ground really well to obsidian. It is also a stone that I feel like isn't quite so intense. All right. Onyx, another black stone. Onyx is another stone that is just a good ground stone. It helps you to set your ground. and keeping it with you is easy. Onyx has a nice hand feel. It's, you know, usually it's tumbled, it's smooth, and it feels good in the hand, and it's a good protective stone. Garnet. For those of you who love the red, the dark red, go for a garnet. You can pick up a nice little almondine garnet for not that much. And I love garnet. Garnet's a great way to stay grounded. So carry one, wear one. Garnet's easier because you can get garnet jewelry right and left that is gorgeous. So you decide, but garnet's great. Black tourmaline is an excellent grounding stone too, and I didn't grab one to show you, but you might choose that. All right, how do you use a stone to ground? Well, the properties of crystals are activated through heat or pressure. So this is why a lot of times we recommend keeping a stone in your pocket or wearing it up against your skin or even keeping it in your bra. I know lots of people that do that. You know, there should be some underwear for metaphysical people on the market that have pockets in them. You know, maybe someone should admit that. Probably not me, but anyway. So, but that's how the properties of crystals are activated, heat or pressure. So hold it in your hands to meditate with it. That creates heat and pressure. Or put it against your body in some way. Easy enough, right? So those are all grounding stones. And if you're struggling with feeling grounded, and that seems to kind of be a trend for you, just keep a stone with you all the time. One that you like, one that feels good, one that does something for you, right? Right. So the other thing to consider is if you had a tumultuous childhood, if there was abuse, if there was a lot of moving, if there was a lot of being unsure about what was happening in your family, some dysfunction, that could have caused a bit of a brittle or unstable root chakra in you as an adult. And so you might find yourself, some people have to really, really be aware of and constantly maintaining their root. Other people, not so much, but childhood experiences definitely can come into play. All right, let's talk about essential oils and grounding. There's a lot of essential oils that you can turn to help you ground, which I think is some of the best stuff because oils are easy, right? You can have an oil in your pocket anytime. You can probably have an oil at your desk. You can be diffusing something in your house whenever you want. You can wear an essential oil diffuser, and that might really help you to be able to have that scent around you. Some oils you'll want to wear, some oils maybe you don't. Maybe you keep them in a little inhaler or keep them in a roll-on. It's totally up to you. You know, I mean, it's all up to you. But I'm going to show you a few oils that are good for grounding. Some that we talk about a lot and others that we probably don't as much. But I always like to kind of challenge the paradigm and introduce you to things that maybe you haven't tried before or don't know as much about. So I'm going to throw a link in the chat room up really quick. This is for Jade Bloom. This is where I recommend that you buy oils, and that's my affiliate link. So if you choose to buy oils from them, if you go through that link, that helps me. But don't feel in any way compelled that you have to do that. This is just one place to buy oils. There's a lot of reputable oil sellers. Just know that they're reputable. Don't buy your oils off Amazon. Just don't. They are frequently not reputable. Okay. Grounding oils. Coffee bean. Have you ever smelled coffee bean essential oil? Well, I'm sure you can imagine what it smells like, right? It's very grounding. So a dab of coffee bean oil on the insides of your wrists or your hands with a good smell, a good scent, that helps you to ground. Frankincense, of course. This is our go-to ground oil. We've talked about it a lot. You'll hear people talk about using frankincense oil on various chakras, actually. That's pretty normal. But it's a great grounding oil. Any tree resin is a good grounding oil. But frankincense is an ancient scent. Your soul knows it. It's smelled it before. It recognizes it. And it's a really, really good oil to ground to. Anise Star. Have you ever smelled anise? Careful how you say that, but that was terrible. Anise Star is, it's a spice, and it smells licoricey and kind of spicy, and it's a great oil to ground to as well. And you can diffuse anise. You can wear anise. It's not really a hot oil. You can put it on your skin, but it might be something that you like. Branch out. Try something you've never tried before. Okay. Pine. Pine needle. My son diffuses pine in his dorm room almost every day. He chooses. This makes me laugh, but he has a diffuser, and he diffuses oils every day in his dorm. And he and his roommates have specific oils that they like the most. And they'll call me and tell me that they're out of something, and then I, drop ship them some more. But anyway, pine. When he was home at Christmas, he took home 4 different bottles of different kinds of pine or deciduous tree oils because he really loves the way they smell. I think they ground him. He has ADD. He has since he was little. He copes with it really well. He uses tools to stay grounded so that he can focus and, do college. But pine oils, deciduous tree oils are very grounding. And then lastly is arbor vitae. An arbor vitae is an oil that smells very cedarish. It's another tree oil. It comes from Canada, actually, and from some ancient trees in Canada. And arbor vitae is a really grounding oil. It's one of those oils that you really like or you really freaking don't. So you'll have to smell it and decide. It smells to me like the inside of my cedar chest times 20. It smells cedary to me, and I don't really like it, but that's okay. You don't have to love every oil. That's why there's so many, right? But some people really, really like arbor vitae, and they really like it for grounding. So I'm bringing it to you guys as an option. So with oils, how do you use them? Some people like to rub a drop on the bottoms of their feet to really bring that grounding about, right? Some people really like to just use them as aromatherapy, not putting them on their body, but just smelling them. That's fine. Some people like to diffuse them. And again, aromatherapy jewelry is a fun way to do it. You can buy bracelets, you can buy necklaces that you just put your oils in and you ground with. So you smell them and you just allow them to help you stay more grounded. So you decide how that looks for you, but there's really no wrong answer. Just make sure that you know what you're doing with your oils, right? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to ground with the singing bowl. So this is it. This is one of my big Tibetan singing bowls. This is in the note of C, and C is a note of the root chakra. I'm going to play the bowl. The first time I play it, I'm going to ask you to just allow the vibration of the singing bowl to clear away anything in your root that may be keeping you from staying grounded. Easy enough, right? Anything that could be keeping you from staying grounded. That's all. Just hold that intention. And then we'll come back and really use this to help us set a good ground. All right, here we go. Okay, so now let's change gears. And now, this time I'm going to play the bowl. I want you to work with me. We're going to send a powerful burst of energy from your left foot down into the earth, really connecting you deeply to the earth's energy. We're going to pull that all the way up to the top of your head and back down into the earth. We'll do that several times to make sure that we have that reciprocal energy flowing so that your crown's getting cleared so that you can feel amazing. All right, here we go. All right, so First, sending a powerful burst of energy from the bottom of your left foot deep into the earth, sending your roots deep, deep, deep into the earth. Good. And now drawing that energy up from the earth all the way to your foot, your knee, your hip, all the way up your side to your shoulder, to the top of your head, and back down to your shoulder, down your side, to your hip, to your knee, to your foot, and back down into the earth, sending those roots deep, 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 deep down into the earth. Now again, we'll pull that energy up the left side from your roots, all the way up to your foot, all the way up your leg, to your hip, up to your shoulder, to the top of your head, and back down to your shoulder, down to your hip, down your leg to your foot, and all the way back down into the earth. Faster this time. You're going to feel that energy speeding up anyway. So all the way from your roots, all the way up to the top of your head and back down into the earth. Good. And again. And again. Good. Perfect. Now you have that reciprocal flow. Very good. So that should help everybody to get a little bit more grounded, get a little bit more centered, and feel a little bit more like you. Okay, I'm going to jump into the chat room here. Kay said her black and red wires weren't connected today when she found the only little patch of ice in the park and did a face plant. Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Hope you're okay. That sucks. I hope you weren't injured. You weren't injured, right? Please tell me you weren't. Dang it. Okay. Ali Shai said the anise star also makes the best tea for upset stomachs. That's good to note. Thank you. You could also just rub that on your stomach. That's awesome. Okay. Laura said she just put Arbor Vitae on her feet and that her dog came flying over to find out where the aroma came from. She loves oils. You know, Laura, I'll tell you something interesting about Arbor Vitae. I used to have a client that was a big old bulldog, and she had an injury on her back from going under a fence and getting caught by a barbed wire. And so it had turned into about the size of a quarter, and it was always there. So when they started seeing me, she had already had that for like 2 years. And it would heal up, and then she would rub on her back on the floor and open it back up, and it never went away. Anyway, so Arbor Vitae is an oil that is generally accepted to be safe for dogs. So we started with a carrier oil. Her owner started applying the Arbor Vitae to that sore because Arbor Vitae actually helps to regenerate cells. Anyway, within just a couple of weeks, that patch healed over. She kept putting it on it every day for about 3 months just to, continue to make sure it was healed up. And it healed. And it was deep. It was like a crater in her back. It filled in. She always had an ugly scar there from it, but it filled in and healed. So pretty interesting. Arbor Vitae is a really interesting oil, even if it doesn't smell very good. That's just me. I'm just being a brat. Okay. Well, you guys, I want to thank you so much for being here. We've done what we do. We've talked down to the end of the show. I want to let you know that you can find me tomorrow with the Psychic Sisters. It is marching orders for March. See what I did there? It wasn't on purpose, but we'll give you a good peek of what's going on for March. And then, of course, you'll find me on Monday with the 1-2 News Show. I want to let you guys know that I'll be over at 1-2 Listen for the rest of the day and evening and weekend. If you need anything from me, you can find me over there. If you need a reading, a healing, some energy work, a pep talk, a shot in the arm, whatever it is, I'll be there for you guys. So there's lots more great radio to come. You've been listening to The Katie Weaver Show here on 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.